guys. Welcome to another episode of Real Life Keto Radio. Bridget and I are here in the studio today, and we have a very exciting guest for you. So our guest today is someone that I met just a few months ago, really.
But it feels so much longer.
I know, it feels like we've known her forever. But she has a couple of things that are near and dear to her heart that are near and dear to mine as well. She and her husband have the sweetest relationship. It's so encouraging to watch them interact. They're still very much in love, even though they've been married multiple decades. I'm not going to share how many. I'll let her do that if she desires to. But she loves all things about health and just kind of mental headspace, getting that right. And she's a fellow yogi. She loves yoga. So just join me in welcoming to our show today, Debbie Brownell. Hey, Debbie.
Hey, guys. Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's 3 decades, I guess, 35 years I've been married, and yeah, we still like each other. So
that is so beautiful to see. I love, I've only gotten to spend time with you guys a couple times, but I just love watching your all's interactions, and you can just feel the sweetness. It's really nice.
Yeah, you seem much more newly dating or newly married couple than someone with multiple.
Oh, well, good. We make it a rule. We have to still date, so I think that helps. You know, you gotta like spending time together. You gotta make time for it. Even you have kids and whatever else is going on in your life, it's really important. Exactly. It's how to make it happen.
It's funny because I remember our pediatrician when we had 2 little kids at the time. And I was like, worried about being kind of a new mom and what do I do and what are the important things to do. And he looked at both of us, my husband and I were both there. And he said, the most important thing that you could do for your kids is to love each other. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, I got that. I got that. And it just, it makes it kind of fall into place. Yeah. It's not always easy, but it's simple when you have that priority. And you and Mark definitely do.
I love that. It's not always easy, but it's simple. I always get that messed up, but I say it a lot in yoga too. Like, we don't do anything complicated. It's all easy, or simple. It's all simple. It doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah, exactly. And I always tell people that too that are new, like in my yoga class, I'll say, we'll be moving at a slower pace than maybe you're used to in other fitness classes. And your mind is going to wander. And I'm going to have you in a pose and you're going to think, this is not even exercise. Has she fallen asleep? Why aren't we doing something? Just recognize that thought and let it pass by, because what we are doing sometimes is very simple. And I'll have you be doing either a simple movement or holding a steady pose. But I promise you'll feel it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And sometimes the hardest part is just staying present. And that's part of the practice too. It's in those moments when you're just like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Why am I in this pose? Why am I doing this? Just like, come back to your breath.
Exactly. And I think there's so many parallels, because I love yoga. We'll just leave Bridget out of this part of the conversation. But there are so many parallels in yoga with, your just total real life experience, right? Like,
absolutely.
You're hit, from all sides, different, things coming at you. And sometimes you do just need to take a breath and recenter, figure out what's important. Why am I here? What am I doing? Those same questions that you recognize, flip through your head in yoga. That's real life too, right?
Well, and that's I'm going to keep probably saying this a lot, but that's part of the practice. And you probably say this too, is when we're on the mat, if you can learn to do this in here on the mat, you can take it outside into your world and use it in your everyday life. The lessons we learn on the mat are meant to be lived off the mat as well.
You guys are making me want to do yoga. I have
done it. That's the purpose.
Twice. Once with Rebecca and once with Debbie. But both times, yeah, I know. And then I get distracted. I started talking to someone and left when Debbie was trying to do it. It was talking loudly. I totally ruined the yoga vibe. Happening.
You did it.
I think Rebecca finally came to me and she's like, your laugh is really loud and they're trying to do yoga right there. I was like, oh, I know I was. And then I got distracted. So I need yoga in my life. I am redetermined to bring yoga back into my life because I'm sure it would help with my focus. It could use a little extra attention.
Absolutely.
Accomplished, right, Debbie? That's all we needed.
Yes, that's all we needed. Yes.
Did you guys have an ulterior motive to try to get me focused by bringing me on? You guys are smart. So, Debbie, what got you interested in yoga? How long have you, I know you've been an instructor for over a decade, but how long have you been doing yoga? What brought you into that world?
Back pain. Seriously, before that, I had been interested in yoga, wanted to do yoga, but I was intimidated about going to a class, which is probably true for a lot of people. And so the breath is what I practiced before the physical practice. And Rebecca probably understands this more than most people if they're not familiar with yoga, but learning to breathe. I hate to fly, so it's like I learned to breathe to fly. But then in 2008, I hurt my back again just by bending over to pick up a box. You know, sometimes that's like, it's the easiest thing. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. And I had been through it before, and I did not want to do injections or surgery. So, and this is just my story. I'm not recommending this for anybody else. I can't, you know, but for my story, I was in pain for over a year, cried every day, finally found an integrative doctor that said, you need to do yoga. But I had to do individual yoga. I couldn't start in a class. I had to do yoga therapy first. My other doctor had told me I would never be able to do back bend, so up dog, things like that again. But I started slowly, and it makes a huge difference in my life and in how I feel. And so I just wanted to share what it did for me and how much that's what ultimately need to do. Are we frozen?
Oh, there you are.
You're back.
Say, how much of that did you get?
All right, guys, we got a lot happening right now. The phone has never rang while we're in the studio. Okay, we interrupt this radio show for bad internet, ringing phones. We're back.
This is
Real life.
So radio.
Real
It is
life.
real, and it's always exciting. Yes.
For sure. Well, that's perfect. So tell us again, you kind of broke up when you were talking about, you know, when you started being able to move better, obviously not making medical claims. Maybe we should answer it.
Hold on. You keep talking about yoga.
Okay. So for me, like I was saying, that it everyday life so much easier. And so I just wanted to share what it had done with me for others. So that's why I wanted to become an instructor. And actually, it took a little boost to get me to become an instructor, because being in front of people, as you guys know, is a challenge for me. So it took actually a friend of mine that I was taking classes from all the time. She actually was doing the training, said I needed to do it. She kind of coerced me into doing it, talked me into it. But I really love sharing how much yoga can benefit anybody. You know, it's just done so much for me. So I love sharing that with others.
Yeah. And something you said, Debbie, is like you mentioned the intimidation factor that a lot of us experience whenever we try something new. You know, I know I went into a yoga class. I'd been taking different kinds of fitness classes, you know, for years, but something was different about a yoga class, right? It was quiet. The lights were softer. Everyone was just kind of lying there. The instructor happened to be a bald man dressed all in black, and I don't know, it just really intimidated me. Even though I was familiar with group fitness, it felt very different to me. And it was challenging for me to sort of quiet my mind and not be moving quickly. You know, I was coming from like dance classes and kickboxing to that. So it was a very different feel. But I'm so thankful that I pushed through that discomfort,
Stuck it out.
right, to explore yoga. And we find a lot of that with our keto coaching. A lot of people are looking for something different in their nutrition, but they don't quite know where to start. They feel like everybody else is already ahead of them. They don't know where to go for resources. Who is the best person to listen to? Like, those are all barriers that can be experienced by people when they're looking for a health change. And that's one of the reasons we try to keep it real here on Real Life Keto Radio,
Very
where
real.
it's very approachable and very flexible. it's not a one size fits all kind of thing, because we know a lot of people have that
Right.
trepidation when they're starting something new. And we don't want to, just like in yoga, you wouldn't necessarily start someone out doing a headstand, right? You focus on the breath first. And the same
Absolutely.
with how we help with people changing their lifestyle and their diet. We don't try to get them to change everything at once. Change something, and then that leads to another change, and we build on that, just like you build on poses and you build on.
Right.
Yeah. And I would love to
Exactly.
know, you said something that was interesting to me that maybe is a common understanding, but I just don't know since I don't know yoga very well. You said something like the doctor told you that you could not do group yoga, you could only do individual yoga. What does that, why is that?
Well, because I was at the point where, okay, I couldn't even do chair yoga to start out with, because when she sat me on a chair, it was just so painful. So she took me down to the ground right away, like I was lying on my mat. So I had to do yoga therapy, which is not what I do, but I had to do yoga therapy with someone who was trained in helping people with that specific or that intense of an issue at that time. So I did one-on-one for several months before I went into a classroom.
I mean, and I
And
think
even,
that's important to make sure if you're
yes,
starting something new, you go with someone who's qualified, who's had training or experience. And we very freely admit here that we aren't nutritionists or medical professionals, but we have both been living a keto-ish lifestyle for close to 6 years now. And we have done a lot of training and a lot of education. And we, like you, like to share yoga. We like to share what we've learned from the keto lifestyle. But it is very important to make sure that the person is qualified and that they kind of get you and your needs, right? Like it's
right,
like you can just walk into any old place and do any old thing, right? Like you came in with your particular situation and had a qualified instructor who could get
right.
on you.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah. So, okay. So 2008, you started working with the individual therapist for yoga. And then what did
Well,
the,
I was in pain. I didn't, so 2008 to 2009, I struggled. 2009, I said, I got to do something different. And I finally got it checked out. So, yeah, 2009 is when I started working with someone. And then I started taking classes. After I was done with the individual, then I started taking some group classes. And the thing about yoga is it teaches you through the practice. Are we frozen? There we go. Okay. You have to learn to listen to your body. Like, are we back?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, there we go. So yoga teaches us to be aware of what's going on in our own body. So by the time I got to my practice in a group, I knew you have to listen to what your body's telling you, and I emphasize this in all of my classes. So what an up dog might be, and I know you guys don't know what this is, but what any pose might look like to someone is going to look different to someone else. And that's the beauty of yoga, because no matter where you are in your practice, or no matter where you are and what's going on with your body, yoga is for everybody. You know, it can help you with whatever it is you're dealing with. And again, I'm not making medical claims, but I'm talking healing. It's going to heal anything. I went out for a second, but that's just me. I love yoga, and I think,
I mean, what you're saying makes a lot of sense, right? And again, bringing it back to our keto space, that's what we try to tell people. Like, what is a good fit for Bridget might not be a good fit for Debbie. And what's a good fit for Rebecca in 2021 may not be the same good fit for me, you know, like in 2020.
it's a journey. It's a journey that we're all on, and it's different from day to day.
So true. Okay. So then what made you decide to become a fitness instructor? Was that an easy transition from taking the classes to becoming an instructor?
No, like I was saying, I had to be coerced, because for me, being in front of a group and teaching people, I never see myself, or it took me a while rather, to see myself as the expert, the person that can lead people, the person that can teach people. Don't get me wrong, I love teaching people, but for me to be up in front of everybody, the idea of that scared me. But like I said, I had a friend that was, she taught the classes. She owned the studio that I was going to. And so she opened a yoga school, or a yoga training rather, and talked me into it. So that was my first training, and I'm glad I did it. And I'm forever grateful for her, because if she wouldn't have pushed me and given me that nudge, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Aw.
Sorry, there's a bug.
That's okay. Where exactly are you? Because we are currently in Kentucky, and I don't think that's where you are.
Oh, stop it.
For those of you listening on the radio, Debbie just turned
Sorry, yeah.
around and showed us the ocean.
Beautiful ocean. It's our happy place.
We're at Clearwater Beach. Yes, my happy place.
Oh, very
Yeah.
nice.
So that's why we might be experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties. Debbie is talking to us while sitting on her balcony overlooking the ocean.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible. I'm so sorry.
That's
Not
okay.
really.
Studio with ringing phones and no beach scene. Yeah. So Debbie, I'm like you. Like, I fell in love with yoga. I did want to share it, but it is intimidating to kind of put yourself out there as the person, who's helping people. But it's so rewarding, right? Because when you know what it's done for you, you are like, you do feel a compulsion to share it with other people. So let's switch gears a little bit. How did you connect with us, and what drew you into maybe the keto space as opposed to just the yoga space?
So I'll make this as short as possible, but I had terrible digestive issues. So I have been, fitness and wellness have been huge to me for many years, because, well, when you're miserable, you want to seek out what's going to help make you better, right? So gluten-free, and started out gluten-free many, many years ago, and then it just kind of evolved. And a couple years ago, I did keto. Was awesome. I came here, visited family, ate all the carbs, got back home, couldn't get back on it. So then go back to February, I guess February of this year is all it's been. I was like, I need to get back on keto, because it's what worked. It's what makes me feel better. So, I mean, honestly, I just prayed and I said I had to get started again, and I asked for something to help me. And I saw an ad on social media for the Real Life Keto Challenge, and here I am. I fell in love with the accountability and the people and the fact that it's real. And I don't know, you guys are real. Your videos are real. They're not.
Phones ringing.
It's relatable. Yeah, phones ringing, bugs flying by. Whatever happens, it's just what it is. It's real. It's raw. It's raw in a good way. And I think it's what makes it relatable to so many of us, mostly women. I mean, I know there are a few guys. My husband went through the challenge and he enjoyed it too. But yeah, so I loved it so much, I just didn't want to go away.
Oh, I love that so much. This is something I don't say very often, but did you know that the challenge was originally called the 21-day challenge from keto curious to keto confident? Now, I came up with that name. I thought it was pretty amazing. And about 6 or 8 months in, Rebecca's like, I mean, it's kind of a long name. I don't know. I felt like the title needed to tell everything about the challenge. And she said, what about Real Life Keto Challenge? And I was like, yes, that is exactly what we are. We are so real. People can relate to that. But also our goal is to help people find what will fit in their real life. So it's such a perfect name. And it has become kind of our mantra. Like, that really is what we stand for. So I love, we hear that a lot. That resonates with people. They're like, you're just so authentic. I feel like I'm just right there in the room with you, because you're talking so casually. I mean, sometimes we maybe should be a little bit more formal, but we feel like all the people in our KETO-SIStas community, they have become our friends, and we have built a family. And there's so much power in that. And people are sustaining the keto lifestyle in ways that they never did before, because they have that accountability. And it's hard when you're trying to do the keto lifestyle and you look around and everywhere you look is day on donuts and cupcakes and soda. And you're like, oh, it's just hard. It's easy to get sucked back in sometimes. But when you can go online and find other people posting their recipes and celebrating their wins and cheering you on, there's so much power in that. And so we do have the Real Life Keto Challenge, but if you're interested in even more accountability after that, then we have a monthly accountability group where people really love to, just like you said, kind of stay and hang out with their people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the power of community is so huge. And if this whole like past 24 months or however many it's been since the world's gone topsy-turvy has shown us anything, it's that there are some people that are very divisive and there are some people that are community oriented, and
Yeah.
people drawn to community because there's power
Mhm.
there. There's strength, there's accountability, there's support, there's encouragement. Yes, you can go on social media and pick a fight with anyone, and it's going to leave you feeling empty and angry and sad. Or you can use social media like we do to connect with like-minded people who are in the pursuit of better and who support each other in that goal. And sometimes we talk about kind of being the black sheep. You know, if you're the only person in your friend group or in your family who's trying to do a keto lifestyle, you can get made fun of a lot, you know, a lot of eye rolling and, oh, don't you wish you could eat this? And especially as you get started, that can be so discouraging. It can be so hard to be kind of that lone person until you start getting more and more of the benefits. And when you see benefits played out in your life and in the lives of the people around you in community, it just, makes you want to dig in. And then you realize it's the other people who are missing out.
Yeah, I love the phrase. At first, they will ask you why you're doing it, and then they will ask you how you did it. You know, when they see the results, when they see this community of people who just feel good, so they're able to give back. And, you know, you can see as we're aging, we are aging differently because we feel good, because we are taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, and not to bring it back to yoga or include yoga back in there, but I think it's perfect. I mean, my age, and there are people a lot younger than me that are like, oh, I'm getting so old. Oh, my body. Oh, I can't do this. One, what are you putting on the end of your fork? Two, how are you moving your body, or why aren't you moving your body? Three, you need to be doing yoga because, I don't know, I think the whole world needs yoga, and maybe there wouldn't be so much divisiveness on social media, but
Yeah.
You know, something that you said made me remember a couple of years ago, I was getting my annual physical, you know, because I do try to be very proactive about my health and do my screenings and everything that I'm supposed to do. And one of the things he had me do was to bend over, and he said, reach for your toes. I mean, I wasn't warmed up. I wasn't, you know, I was just straight off the street. I just flopped over and put my palms on the floor, and he was like, show off. And I was like, I did. It's something that I do every day. I move my body in that way. And just so when he said to do it, that's what I thought he meant. So I just did it. And he said that he has 12-year-olds that can't even come close to touching their toes, let alone putting them on the floor. And I was like, I was kind of taken aback. I knew maybe people my age and older might not have that flexibility, but for
someone so young,
yeah, I was like, wow, what has our country come to?
Yeah.
It's so funny when we were talking about I loved what you said. What are you putting on the end of your fork, and how are you moving your body? I thought no matter what
they go together. They go together.
They do. And no matter what you do, it always comes back to diet and exercise. It's like there's a million books written about how to get healthy, different hacks and things you can do. Basically, you got to be intentional about what you eat and about what you do with your body. And that's where it's at. And it makes such a difference. And it's like we know it. Before I started this, when I was eating fast food all the time and not taking care of myself at all, like I knew that going through that fast food restaurant was not as good of a choice as eating a salad at home. But I didn't really correlate how big of an impact what I was putting in my mouth, what that was doing to my body. Like I honestly didn't make the connection, which seems silly now, but I think that's where a lot of people are, honestly.
Yeah. And I think what Debbie said is so important, you guys, because she said that those two things work together. Because if you're out there listening and you've ever had a friend who thought he or she could out exercise his or her diet, right? Like they wanted to eat all of the fun junk food, and they would run as much as they needed to or bike as much as they wanted to. And they thought that would like kind of balance things out. That ain't how it works, people. I mean, you might wish it were, but it doesn't. I mean, my husband loves to cycle just like Bridget's does. And they'll do these century rides or these 75-mile rides and all these big organized rides.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look around, the people that are doing it, are exercising all the time if they can exercise and ride for that long of a time. But a lot of them still have like a huge midsection,
Mm-hmm.
and they just don't look healthy. They don't look like athletes because they are out eating their exercise.
Right.
Right.
Unbelievably, we
Well-
are getting close to the end of our time, which is
What?
crazy. I know.
We went off on a bit of a yoga tangent, but
Well, that's okay. I
that's what
mean,
the world needs,
that
right?
is your
It all comes back to it, because even with eating, yoga just makes you more aware of everything. And if you want to be kind to yourself, you're going to start thinking more about what you're putting in your body and how you're treating yourself and others. Namaste.
But before we get off, I have a couple things. I want to know, is there anything that you want to share that we haven't asked you yet?
That's an open-ended question,
That
Bridget.
is. I mean, I just don't want you to
Yeah,
go off
I
here and
know.
think,
Like, I don't know.
no?
No, I mean, I am working on a challenge that it is going to come to fruition soon. So journey into your power through yoga.
Uh-huh.
That's exciting.
I can't wait to see what you do with that. It's going to be so impactful for people, for sure. Just the tiny glimpse that I got of your yoga expertise
And
makes me excited for more.
Her passion for it really
Mhm.
comes across, right? I mean,
Yeah.
she's like, everything comes back to yoga. She's like, mindset, yeah, diet, yeah, exercise, like all of those, and the breathing and the training and the mind-body connection to me is so huge and so missing for so many people. Like as an exercise instructor, I'll teach a dance class and I'll say, do this with your right hand and do this with your left foot. People don't even have that awareness of like what their body's doing.
Right.
I literally make eye contact with somebody and say, keep your knee in alignment with it. And they will nod to me like they're listening, but it's not translating in their body. And so a lot of people
They need that body awareness.
Yeah, I don't actually have it. I feel like you're talking about me, but I'm gonna.
Well, one of the greatest things is like when you get somebody in class, like at the retreat, there were a couple people that are like, oh, I can't do yoga, but then after, and they're like, that's the first time my mind has quieted, or that's the first time I've actually been able to, focus on my breath or stay here for this long. It's like that to me. That's what it's all about. It's giving people that space to just let go for just a little bit of time and feeling okay to do it, making that safe space for them so that they can, making it fun for them too, because, like we said, yoga's intimidating, but making it fun, making it approachable to all. That's what my goal is.
It can be accessible to any fitness level and any level of flexibility. I mean, people are like, I'm not flexible, I can't do yoga. I'm like, if you're not flexible, you need to do yoga.
It's because you
Right.
don't. All right, I'm convinced. All right, I'm going to start yoga.
All right, we got her sold.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys are very convincing. I love it. And it makes so much sense. And I know my body would feel better if I did it. Okay, I've got some rapid fire questions for you, which means even though it's going to be tough, try to just give like 1 to 5 word answers. I made that up. 1 to 10. Okay.
Okay.
What is your favorite keto substitute?
Probably zoodles.
Those are good. What is your favorite benefit?
Feeling great.
That's all you have to say. That's right. What do you miss the most?
I don't really miss a lot because it makes me feel bad. And there is a substitute for almost anything out there. So I
And there's no substitute for feeling better.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Right.
What surprised you about keto?
Fruit.
I
I mean, I know it shouldn't, but it did.
Yeah, it's a
Keeping it
shocker.
short.
Yeah, it has a lot of sugar. Just consider it nature's dessert as a treat, and you'll be much better off.
Yeah. What is the biggest misconception that people have about keto?
That you have to eat the same thing all the time, or that it's boring. Totally not true.
Yes.
Keeping it short.
No, it's hard. I don't think I can do it. Do you test your ketones?
Yes.
How do
I'm
you
one
do
of
it?
those crazy people. Blood.
Okay.
Blood.
And how often do you do it?
Sometimes every day, sometimes every 3 or 4 days, just depends. And it depends on how I've been eating.
Okay. And what is the best piece of advice that you have for beginners?
Just start. Don't worry about perfection. Just start.
Love it. Okay. And what do you wish everyone knew about keto?
Doesn't have to be difficult.
Oh, so true. I think the theme of this is yoga and simplicity, right? Keep it simple. I love it. Debbie, it has been so awesome having you on here. Thank you for pushing through all the challenges per the usual.
And for suffering on your balcony overlooking the ocean to talk to us.
I mean, her hair is just blowing. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry you had to put up with
or in true to form, we're
like
breaking
that. We end getting into right.
Aww.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listening to me go on and on about yoga.
Think about.
For sure. All right. That's it for now.
Awesome.
Go create your best life.
Bye, Debbie.
Bye.